mechanic is somebody who can fix something. An auto mechanic fixes a car, a body mechanic is a professional killer. I'm a card mechanic, I can fix a card game.
Ace of cards, Richard Turner.
He can do things with cards no one else can do. He's a trickster.
He is demonstrating the moves used by cheaters, the most difficult things you can do with a deck of cards.
I represent why you should never play cards with strangers.
When I saw Richard Turner perform, I was in the presence of greatness.
About halfway through the show, you can see different members of the audience realize it. This guy can't see.
There you are, our friend. I love it when the audience shows up. It makes for such a better show. Otherwise, I'm sitting here by myself playing with my cards all by myself. It's lonely. Well, as you heard, I'm Richard Turner, and I represent why you should never play cards with strangers. And by the time the show's over, you'll say, that guy was really strange. I'm what's known as a card mechanic, card shark, slang term, card shark, card mechanic. I'm going to demonstrate how many ways I can take your money at the card table while sharing what it takes to become world class when you can't see and you have to block with your face. Simply, this will be a fusion of entertainment, inspiration, motivation, and lots of card cheating fun. And some people leave the show thinking it was a scripted fantasy. As you probably gathered from Bob, everything you're going to hear is true. Let me introduce my ladies. Would you tell everybody your name, please?
My name is Catherine Spengler.
Catherine, yes, and?
I'm Carrie.
Carrie. But she spells hers differently. Well, as I said, I'm a cheat, but I'm an honest cheat now. Back in the days of the Old West, there were cheaters everywhere. And the rule of the day was if you couldn't see it, it wasn't considered cheating. If they did see it, they had the right to kill you. So you were either good or good and dead. I'm going to tell you a story, a true story, of what could have happened to you if you were caught cheating back then. The squeamish may wish to cover their ears, but the kids love this story because it's really gross. In 1891, a newspaper printed the following account. A successful San Francisco merchant named Atia was in a heads-up poker game against a gambler known as Poker Tom. Atia lost. Atia was convinced that Poker Tom had cheated him. Without warning, Atia jumped up with a giant machete and slew Poker Tom. He cut off his arms and legs, threw them in a vat of brine. He took the heart, liver, and other plumbing, carefully cut them up into nice stew-sized pieces, and tossed them in a large cauldron along with sliced carrots and onions. And as a good chef should, he added spice. He then hid the unused parts of Poker Tom in an old steamboat trunk. After stewing them, he took the arms and legs, cut them up into chops, and sold them in his store as goat meat, 6 cents a pound. Good COVID deal. He then invited Poker Tom's gambling buds over for a grand stew dinner, which they ate with expressions of gratitude. Yummy, yummy. Well, the steamboat was discovered and Atia was charged with murder. However, his high-priced attorneys got the charges dropped. Doesn't that sound familiar? Well, the gamblers were going to have none of that decision. They stormed the courthouse. They grabbed Atia by his ankles, drug him out, and dispatched him in bloody fashion. Ready for dinner? When you play poker, blackjack, bridge, hold'em, whatever the game, you want to make sure the cards are evenly mixed. And my ladies are going to show you how it's done. All right. You have a deck? I do. And I have a deck. Okay. First, give the deck some just cuts like this. Just up the river cuts. Very easy to do. Now alternate it. Okay. Now get a flying three-way. Okay. Now you have to shuffle the cards. Break the deck in half. Riffle them up. Do it again. Oh, beautifully, beautiful. Do it again. Another one, another series of cuts. Okay, another shuffle. And this is basic casino procedures called riffle, riffle, strip, riffle, cut. So the deck should be fairly evenly mixed. And they like to do that in about 15 seconds or so. Hold your cards in your hand off the table. Let's see if these cards are evenly mixed.
Oh my God.
Do we have ace through king, ace through king, ace through king, ace through king?
Yes.
That's what I call an evenly mixed deck. See, I don't like that random stuff. Confuses this old brain. Okay, here's a deck for you. Just shuffle them up. And when you're done, just set them right there for me. That way I know where you put them. And when you're done, you set your shuffles and set yours right here like that. Okay. Perfect. As you saw from the trailer, I see with my mind and my fingers. I'll give you a little background on my vision situation. That's good. That's good. Perfect. Just set them there. Got it. I'll give you a little background on my vision situation. In 1963, my sister and I, we both contracted scarlet fever. And for whatever reason, it caused us both to lose our sight. I was 9 years old when my vision started going south. During my teens and 20s, my vision was measured at 20/400, which is twice as low as what's considered legally blind. Then it all disappeared. Now, before we go further, is it okay if we're not politically correct for a few minutes? Is that okay with you guys? Can we tell some jokes and have some fun? I don't like this. Comedians are not allowed to be funny anymore. Because I have to say, growing up with vision no better than a cartoon character, Mr. Magoo, can be really entertaining at times. Like watching as I stop trees, car doors, solid brick buildings with my bare head. Block with my head, protect my hands. Valuable, not so valuable. My beautiful wife, she's so immune to me running into things. We're sitting in our recliners. She's reading, I'm shuffling. The phone rings. I dashed to answer the phone. I ran square into the corner of a wall, split my head wide open. I'm gushing blood. She looked up from her book and said, now that one had to hurt. I was on the driving range with my dentist. He went to the restroom. I didn't realize each time I put a ball down, I made a slight adjustment to the left. Instead of driving the balls at 12 o'clock, I was driving them at 9 o'clock, right towards the pro shop. And the golf pro was down there yelling and screaming, hey, you in the middle, you in the blue shirt, what the blankety blank are you driving those balls over here for? I wondered who that jerk was in the blue shirt as I, bam, drove another 2-inch bullet right towards his face. When my son was about 7 years old, he had to use the restroom. We both sided up to a pair of urinals, and I'm being my normal goofy self, and I'm looking over and down at him going, oh, I love to pee and get the pee out of me. When I feel this little tap on my back, voice from behind go, Dad, I finished. That's another man you're singing to. I got up to brush my teeth. I squirted the toothpaste on my brush, started brushing. It was awful. I asked my wife, I said, what kind of toothpaste is this? It's wretched. She laughed. She said, that's not toothpaste. That's spermicide. It's for birth control. You keep using that, we'll never have kids. This is probably the most memorable moment. I came up with a great idea for the blind and deaf driver. I bought a motorcycle. I would drive, my deaf friend Roy would tell me where to go. Right, left, red light, green light. It worked really well till one day we were pulled over for suspected armed robbery. We fit the profile of the robbers to a T except for 2 minor details. The getaway driver wasn't blind. His accomplice wasn't deaf. Once we proved to the cop that we couldn't see the lights flashing or hear the siren blasting, I received a ticket for driving while blind, and he let us drive on. True story. Now you know what an oddball you're listening to. This is what I've learned about life. We're all dealt different hands in life. With those hands, we make choices. A choice of mediocrity or painting a portrait of success. During my show, you're going to become familiar with the acronym DEALT. D-E-A-L-T as in dealt a hand of cards. D stands for dreams. Our dreams fuel the fire in our belly. E stands for excellence. What opens doors is becoming an expert, achieving a state of excellence. A stands for analysis. We must analyze our obstacles. We must analyze our assets. L stands for loyalty. We must be loyal to virtues such as honesty and integrity. T stands for tenacity. Tenacity breaks down the barriers that stand between us and our dream. Growing up, I had 3 dreams. One was to kick like Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee. 2 was to have strength like Charlton Heston demonstrated in the movie Ben-Hur. But my most bizarre aspiration was to be a card shark, like James Garner's character from the TV series Maverick. So we'll start with the letter D, dreams. As I said, I wanted to be a card shark. At 7 years old, I started playing cards for M&Ms with my sisters, and I started figuring out ways to make sure I always won those M&Ms. By the time I turned 21 in 75, I had developed a certain level of skill where I had the privilege to start training under a man named Professor Di Vernon. Professor Vernon was born in 1894. He lived to be 98 years old, and for over half a century, he was considered the best in the world with a deck of cards. He took a liking to me, and I had the privilege of studying with him for 17 years. And during those years, Professor Vernon would describe to me very intricate card concepts and card moves. And the thing is, he didn't describe them to me in the way that he could do them or the way that anyone else could do them, because I couldn't see what he was showing me. He tricked me. He described them to me in a perfect manner, in the way he wished they could be done. And only after I spent thousands, tens of thousands of hours and mastered the different moves, techniques, and controls, did he eventually admit to me he made them up. He just wanted to see what the obsessed kid would come up with. I'm going to show you a series of things Professor Vernon says was not possible. First of all, have you heard of wild cards in poker? Someone say yes if you have. Yes. Oh, bunch of gamblers out there. Like baseball have multiple cards. Deuces are wild. You've heard of that. Other games, they'll just cut the deck, and that will be the wild card for the night. Carrie, would you cut the deck in half? And would you say any random number?
5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What's that card?
Jack of diamonds.
Jacks are wild. Jacks are wild. Carrie just handed me a shuffled deck of cards. Now watch carefully. I'm going to do the same thing that they do in the casinos. And through the action of shuffling, and I won't even look, I'm going to try to find some good cards. You guys watch. Make sure I'm being honest. Does everything look legit?
Yes.
Not a move was. You're already in trouble. Now they have what's called the cut. What's that card, Catherine?
Ace of clubs.
Ace of clubs. The deck is cut. The deck is no longer cut. Watch again. I'm not trying to fool you. I'm actually exposing. I'm showing you how fast I can uncut that deck of cards. Who out there has heard of Texas Hold'em? Say yes. In Hold'em, they have what's called a cut card. They'll put a card face up on the bottom of the deck. Now, after the fact, you're going to tell me how many people step up to my Hold'em table. Mary Alice, pick a number. 5 players, 6 players, 7 players. What would you like? 7. Big table, lots of money for us, Mary Alice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Burn. And we have what's called the flop. Carrie, what are those 3 cards?
9 of clubs, 4 of diamonds, jack of spades. 9 of spades, 4 of diamonds, jack of clubs.
So we have a pair of 9s because the jack's wild, remember? Burn, turn. What's that?
8 of spades.
8, burn, turn. What's that?
Jack of spades.
So we have 3 9s. Let's get rid of our burnt card off the bottom. And let's see what my partner, Catherine, has over here sitting in hand number 6. What's that, Catherine?
Jack of hearts.
What's that, Catherine?
Jack of diamonds.
That equals 5 9s. You killed them, Catherine. You killed them. But thank you. All right. But you shuffled. I took care of business for you. Would you give that deck, make sure they're all face down? All face down?
Oh, no, just 1.
Okay, fix them. That's your job.
There we go.
Okay. And then just shuffle them and set them out. Just give us 1 shuffle, be fine. Okay. Now, who has heard of 7-card stud? Say yes.
Yes.
My gosh. What's your name over there, sir? I heard a sir over there. Eddie. How many players should we have, Eddie? 4 or 5? You call. This is not a hard decision, Eddie. 5. Where do you want? Well, maybe I shouldn't ask Eddie. Eddie, where do you want to set? 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5? It's not a hard decision, Eddie. 5 and 5. Okay, here we go, Eddie. 1, 2, 3, 4, and Eddie is number 5. Watch this, everybody. Catherine, I want you to take these cards, mix them up. Don't give me the whole deck back. Just pull out random stack of cards and hand them to me. Give the cards a quick mix and just pull out a stack of cards and hand them to me. There you go. Now just pull out a stack and hand them to me. So Catherine is going to do, oh my God, is she ever stingy? Look at that. Well, you're the boss, Catherine, not me. 1, 2, 3, 4, and down to Eddie. Okay, put that back with the others and mix them up and hand me any part of that deck you want. Oh, I pulled one of keep these things in order here. Nice and neat, and you can help me, Carrie, if you see anything get out of order. Hand me some cards. Oh, you're stingy again. Okay, but you're the boss, not me. 1, 2, 3, 4, and just for the switch with me right before I do the card. Play with those little things that you had there. Here. In fact, did you shuffle these?
I did.
Did you shuffle them some more? Did you want to shuffle some more?
I can shuffle them some more.
Okay. You want to shuffle them some more?
I only have 4 cards here. So.
Okay. Well, then I'll just deal one. What's that card? Mix them up. Take them back and mix them up.
That's a queen of clubs.
A queen. Okay. And there's one face up on each pile. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, hand me just a random stack.
Okay.
Quickly. Very good. Oh, yeah. 2 more than last time. Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, and here's Eddie. What's that?
Queen.
How did she do that? Take those, mix them back with the others, and give me some cards. And if you want, you can just have some ready and switch with me. You're the boss. You are the boss. Oh, you put them in my hand sideways. That's all right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's Eddie. What's that?
10 of clubs.
10. Take them back, mix them up, have me something. See, she's the automatic shuffler. 1, 2, 3, 4, and what's that?
10 of hearts.
2 10s, 2 queens. How the heck is she doing that? Mix them up. Hand me some cards. Hand me some. Oh God, I'm not gonna make it around the table with that. Pull some more. It has to be at least 5. All right. And you guys are the eye in the sky. You have that giant screen. Your job is to figure out what the heck is going on. How could anything be controlled under these conditions? There's Big Eddie. Put those with the rest of the deck. Once again, you shuffled and cut. You chose 5 players slowly. You chose player number 5 very slowly. And let's see what you have in hand number 5 quickly. And we're playing 7 stud, high Chicago. That means high spade in the hole splits the pot. So we know we have on the board 2 pair. What's that card?
10 cards.
10.
10 of clubs.
2 10s.
Queen of diamonds.
Queen.
Queen of clubs.
2 queens. What's that?
King of diamonds.
King. What's that?
Jack of diamonds.
Well, you have 10, jack, queen, king. Is that a king?
Yes.
And we're playing high spade and the hole splits the pot. What's that?
Ace of spades.
Ace, king, queen, jack, 10, high spade in the hole. But you shuffled, you cut, you chose how many players, you chose where you wanted to sit. All I did was cheat. And actually that hand was an ace high straight, but because that jack was wild, it was a full house, queens over jacks. Just so you know that he had multiple ways of playing that hand. Make sure put them all together, make sure they're all face down, give them a shuffle, set them over there. D stands for dreams, E stands for excellence. My first director was a man named Steve Terrell. Steve would taught me how to play the part of a sighted person, how to look people in the eye and give them the impression that I could see them. He would say, an actor will play the part of a blind man. You flip it and play the part of a sighted person. And then backstage, he'd watch me practice with the cards before and after rehearsals. He said, you love cards. If you become the best card man in the world, you will earn the respect of others, and that will open doors for you. He would quote the Apostle Paul, who said, run the race to win, become the best. Professor Vernon said something very similar. He said, if you can do anything, doesn't matter what it is, if you can do anything better than everyone else in the world, people will try to break down your doors to meet you. And how does that happen? 2 4-letter words. 4-letter words some people think are curse words. Those 2 words are hard work. Takes 10 years of hard work to become an overnight success. Many Olympic athletes would argue this, but hours of a day in the gym or running dozens of wind sprints on the track, not exactly fun. Still, they love it. But world-class performance requires world-class discipline. And as I like to say, discipline breeds discipline. Discipline breeds discipline. The more you do something, the more you can do of it, and the better you'll do it. There's another expression I disagree with, and that is practice makes perfect. Practice does not make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. You can practice something wrong. When you're done, it is perfectly wrong. I see it in my business all the time. Perfect practice makes perfect. Malcolm Gladwell talks about the rule of 10,000 hours. He said to become a true expert, a real master, you must devote at least 10,000 hours to your craft. That basically breaks down to 3 hours a day, 7 days a week for 10 years straight. I've been working with cards, I hate to say this, for over 60 years since I was a little kid. And I've made a living with cards for about 47 years. But for 50 years, I practice 3 to 20 hours a day, 7 days a week for a half a century straight. And half of those years, my average practice day was 14 to 16 hours. I am going to show you what obsessive compulsive behavior can do for you too. Catherine, pick a number between 10 and 20 out loud.
14.
14. Let's see if I get 14 cards. I'm going to cut with one hand a stack of cards. Count them and see if I got 13 or 14 out loud.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
I said it when I handed it to you. It felt like 13. Hand them back. Very good. All got them? All face down.
All face down.
We'll do it again. We'll make it more difficult. Any number 1 to 52, give it another go here. But you don't want to say 52. I toss to the deck. Nobody cares. Somebody out there call a number. Okay, I had 2 numbers. I think 38 was called first. Can you count them out loud, one on top of the other, please?
38?
38, that's what he asked for, yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38.
Whoa. There you go. Shuffle them up. Until you go home and try that, you don't realize how tough that is. And people are always asking me, why the heck would you waste your life? I'll show you one of the purposes for that. Allison, give me a number of players. Eddie's too slow. Pick a number 3, 4, 5. Call a number, Allison.
Mary Alice?
Yes, Mary Alice.
Okay, number of players, 4.
4 players. Where do you want to sit, Alice?
I want to be number 2.
4 and 2. The only way, as we talked earlier, you're allowed to shuffle in the casinos, you have to keep the deck of cards face down on the table. It's called a riffle shuffle because you're not supposed to be able to do anything dirty. Well, it's a bunch of you know what. She wanted 4 players. She wants to sit at position number 2. Take the deck, deal a card off the top, face up. In the game, they'd be face down. This is just so we can see what's going on. There's 1, player 2 right here. What's that card?
Jack of Hearts.
Hey, jacks are wild, right?
Yeah.
Player 3, player 4, player 1, player 2. What's that?
Jack. Another Jack.
Don't forget, we are partners. Player 3, player 4, player 1, player 2. What's that?
Jack.
Start betting, start. Dave McFadden's in here. He has money. Keep going. Player 3, player 4, player 1, player 2. What's that? How many? We win. Shuffle them up, shuffle them up. D stands for dreams, E stands for excellent, A stands for analysis. We must analyze our obstacles, we must analyze our assets. And I said my first obstacle to deal with was the losing of my sight. I was 9 years old when a disease began ravaging the retina in my eyes and I began to go blind. And the very same thing happened to both me and my sister. I'm sitting in my classroom, 9 years old. 1 minute I could see the chalkboard like a stroke, the next minute I could not. And to our aggravation, we were both shipped off to a special school where they had what was called a VH room. VH stood for visually handicapped. I hated the word handicapped, and I despised the word blind. The head of the VH department was a wonderful man named Mr. Bryan, along with what I thought was around a 100-year-old volunteer, Mrs. Smith. Mr. Bryan would tell me, Ricky, you need to learn how to read Braille. It will open up to you a world of knowledge. I would argue back, Mr. Bryan, the Braille Bible alone stands 3 feet high. I would need a wheelbarrow to carry around one book. How stupid is that? I'm not learning Braille. Don't ask me again. Accepting help from others was a weakness, and it was a weakness I was not going to deal with. What I did deal with in life was Mr. Bryan's magic tricks. He would show us the coolest magic tricks. I would then perform my card magic for the class. And Mrs. Smith, she asked me, she said, Ricky, why do you like cards so much? I said, because I don't have to see, I can feel what I'm doing. She performed a kindness that really set my destiny. She found this old book at a garage sale called Expert at the Card Table and recorded excerpts on this giant 7-inch reel-to-reel tape recorder and said I could take it home and practice. The techniques and terms were so difficult, she had no idea she was teaching an elementary school kid how to cheat at cards. Thank you, Mrs. Smith. Some of the sighted students were not very nice to us in the VH department. One bully would flip the bird in front of my face and go, hey, Magoo, how many fingers am I holding up? While I was distracted, another bully would pick the wallet out of my pocket. He would dangle it in front of my face and go, hey, Magoo, got any money? And when I'd grab for my wallet, he'd throw it over my head to his friend behind me in a cruel game of keep away. The tease turned ugly when they started slapping me across the face going, can you see to grab your money, blind boy? The other kid jumped on my back, drove me to the car, kicked me in the ribs, and ran off laughing, saying, thanks for the money, Magoo. As I laid there weeping, I thought about my new favorite show on TV, The Green Hornet, starring Bruce Lee as Kato. And I thought one day I'm going to learn karate and kick in their faces. Home life was not much better. Having defective kids was loathsome to our mother, and she was stingy with everything from her affection to feeding us. I was always hungry. In 9th grade gym, I weighed in at 68 pounds. And during lunch tray drop-off, I'd ask the students if I could have their trashed leftovers. And on really bad days, I would take discarded banana peels, take the school's table, mustard them, cover them, and eat them. That wasn't the worst of it. Cemented under a 1-bedroom house was the room I lived in, and it could not be sealed. During the wintertime, I would have as much as 2 to 6 inches of water under my bed, and that created mold that caused torturous asthma attacks that would last for weeks on end. And no matter how much pain I was in, my mother would never spend a dime on a doctor call. While I was coming to terms with the rejection of my mother and the loss of my sight, on Christmas Eve, my aunt's house catches on fire, and my uncle and 4 of my cousins were burned alive. My paternal grandfather was killed when his wagon overturned and he was crushed to death. My dear sweet grandma, she remarried. She came home from lunch to fix her new husband something to eat. He met her at the door with a roofing knife, jabbed it in her throat, and cut off her head. My sister Deborah, my best friend and my biggest fan, she's walking home from school. She was hit and killed by a 21-year-old drunk driver. And to put a cherry on the disastrous cake, it turns out our mother was having an affair with a sailor and ran off with him. Those were some pretty dirty deals. I'm now going to show you some dirty deals I can use to take your money. What is that card on top?
King of Clubs.
Oh, I love the King of Clubs. Watch the King of Clubs on top. I want the King of Clubs, so what happens is I'll deal cards to the other players. Only when I'm ready do I deal the King of Clubs. Watch face up. See how the card sits there as I deal under the top, but you have to deal as neatly as if you're dealing from the top. Watch again. I'll deal it in slow motion. Slow motion. King on top. Slow motion. I want the king, so I hit the other players. Only when I'm ready do I deal the king. Watch face up. See how the card just sits there as I deal under the top card. Here's one-handed. Now watch when the king is face down, you can't tell you've been swindled. That's called dealing seconds. Isn't that fun? Thank you. I am going to show you how I can exploit your shuffling. Watch. What was your wild card?
Jack.
Give the deck a triple cut. What's that?
Jack.
Jack. Triple cut. What's that?
Another jack.
Okay. Triple cut. What's that? Oh, turn over the card. What's that?
Jack.
Jack. Watch these cards. Shuffle them up. Shuffle, 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 shuffle. Are y'all following? Let's give it a triple. Ready? And what's that?
Jack.
Your 4 jacks. Put them back in the deck, face down, shuffle them up. Thank you. Make sure they're all face down. My wife likes to say, you can't conquer what you're not willing to confront. Again, you can't conquer what you're not willing to confront. We have the choice of becoming bitter or better due to our circumstances. When I first started losing my sight, I was really mad. I did a lot of stupid things. But when I accepted the challenge, the loss of vision turned out to be a blessing from above and one of my greatest assets. We talked about obstacle. Let's talk about assets. If we defeat adversity with honor and integrity, we can turn adversity into an asset, and that can lead to prosperity. Adversity leads to prosperity. When the rest of my vision went south, I was blessed in 2 ways. One was with an enhanced sense of touch, and the other was the ability to see without sight. That sounds weird, see without sight. I have a very rare visual condition, first documented in 1760, called Charles Bonnet syndrome. The acronym is CBS. CBS is a condition where a person who has lost their sight should see nothing, blackness, for some unexplainable reason, still sees colors, patterns, shapes, images, and up until recently, there was no medical explanation for this phenomenon. And the scientists say the reason why I can see without a retina, which is impossible, is that my haptic and tactile neural network, that's the part of the brain that relates to touch, is hungry. And it was looking for other places within my brain to colonate. And that part of the brain has bullied its way into my visual network, which in the brain was still fully intact. Now those 2 parts of the brain have now merged together and are resonating as one. I'm going to give you a demonstration of seeing without seeing. We're going to play a game I created when I was 11 years old at the School for the Visually Impaired called Batty, because it drives you batty. And she is going to see the cards, and I'm going to tell her where to move them. And we'll see if she can keep up with me, seeing what she's doing while I do it, not seeing, using my virtual memory. What is that card? A, B, and C, yes?
Yes.
And we'll just start with a low level, 3, 4, 5. This only has about 100,000 combinations. Take the 5, turn it face down, and put it on top of the C. Mix up these 1 through 4. Mix them up. Now you mix them up and put them face down on top of the 5, which is on the C.
Okay.
Now the object for me is to get these cards in a mixed up state on C, in order on A. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There's only one rule. I cannot put a high card on a low card as I move between the three pads. So turn over the first card and tell me what it is.
3.
Put it on A. Next card.
1.
Put it on A. Next card.
2.
Okay, move the 1 over the B. Put the 2 on the 3. Put the 1 on the 2. Turn over the 4. Put it on the B. Put the 1 on the C. Put the 1 on the 4. Put the 1 on the 4. Put the 2 on the C. Put the 1 on the 2. Put the 3 on the 4. Put the 1 on the A. Put the 2 on the 3. Put the 1 on the 2. Turn over the 5. Put it on the A. Okay? Move the 1 over to the C. Put the 2 on the 5. Put the 1 on the 2. Put the 3 on the C. Put the 1 on the 2 in the middle. One in the middle. Put the 1 in the middle. Put the 2 on the 3. You with me?
Yeah.
Put the 1 on the 2. Put the 4 on the 5. Yes. Put the 1 on the 4. Put the 2 in the middle. Put the 1 on the 2. Put the 3 on the 4. Put the 1 on the C. Put the 2 on the 3. Put the 1 on the 2. You did a very good job. That's. I've done a level 15, which is between 16,000 and 32,000 moves in an exact sequence. And it took me 7 hours and 5 minutes to resolve that. I'll never do that again. I'm going to ask a few questions of my ladies, get them know them a little bit better. All right. Would you like to be on the top or bottom?
Bottom, please.
Bottom, please. And Eddie, you are on the top. Okay. I can handle that, maybe. Did you graduate from high school, Catherine?
Yes.
How old were you when you graduated?
17.
17, smarter than others. Are these face down?
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. You said 17, right?
I did.
Have you ever been kissed?
Yes.
Was your first kiss with or without a tongue?
Without.
Without? W-I-T-H-O-U-T. Okay, me too. What month were you born?
September.
S-E-P-T-E-M-B-E-R. Okay. And if you could have dinner with any famous person alive or dead, who would it be?
Oh, geez.
Oh, G? I know. Does that start with a G or a J?
Johnny Depp.
Who?
Johnny Depp.
Okay, is that J-O-N-N-Y or J-O-H-N-Y?
There's an H in there.
J-O-H-N-N-Y, something like that?
Yeah.
Okay, what color is Johnny's eyes as you stare into them? They don't have to be blue or brown. Any color you want.
Oh, violet.
Oh, how many letters in violet?
6.
6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I just wanted a bunch of random numbers that there's no way I could know the answers of. Okay, let's make sure all my piles are neat and in order here. You chose to be on the bottom, Miss Catherine. You put Eddie on the top. We're going to see who has the best poker hand. 5 random numbers. Let's see what Eddie has. What are those 2 cards, Catherine?
2 kings.
Ooh, hey, that's pretty good, Eddie. What are those 2 cards?
2 aces.
Oh, my gosh, Eddie, you're getting excited. What's that?
Another ace.
Eddie, full house. Aces over kings, the best full house possible. You can clap for Eddie. And Catherine chose to be on the bottom. Let's see what she has to do with Eddie. What's that?
A 10.
A 10 of what?
A spades.
What's that?
Jack of spades.
What's that?
Queen of spades.
What's that?
King of spades.
What's that?
Ace of spades.
Oh, you whipped Eddie's hiney. Take them all back. Oh, no, these are your cards. Shuffle them up.
Okay.
Oh, give me the rest of them there. Yeah.
Here are the rest.
Thank you. Shuffle them all up. Make sure they're all face down. Okay. I've been seen in over 200 countries by over 1 billion people. And one of the coolest things I can say during my career is that I've been kidnapped and hugged by the 3-time boxing heavyweight champion of the world, a man who became a very cool friend, Muhammad Ali. I was in a casino. 4 big African-American men snatched me. They shoved me out the back end of the casino, stuffed me in a limo, at least it was a limo, zipped away, pulled up behind another casino. They pushed me into this giant suite where Ali came running up, threw his arms around me in a big bear hug and goes, "Richard, how you doing? It's so good to see you again." Ali had me snatched off the street because he heard I could find randomly selected cards under seemingly impossible circumstances. You want me to show you how I'm finding cards? People find it fascinating. Okay, give me a random number.
13.
13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's your card. Take it. And, well, I won't ask you, Eddie. Mary, let me pick someone. What's your name over here? Roger. Roger. Roger, number. Give me a number. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's your card, Roger. You with me? Okay. And who's next to Roger? Ramjet. No. Sue. Okay. Say a number, Sue. 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. See your card, Sue?
Yes.
Okay. And say a number, Carrie.
9.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, take your card, Carrie.
Okay.
Everybody, look at your cards. I'll take them back one at a time so the audience has a chance to absorb. Carrie, show your card to the camera. Make sure the camera can see it. Everybody see her card? Yes? Say yes. Carrie, say stop.
Stop.
Oh, that was fast. Put your card back. Okay. Okay. Your job, Carrie, is to follow your card. Here we go. Follow your card, Carrie. Follow your card. Follow your card, Carrie. Follow your card. Follow your card. Watch the shuffling. Watch the shuffling. See how they go every other card, slow motion. That's just kind of pretty, isn't it? Okay. Sue, say stop, Sue.
Stop.
Show everybody Sue's card again. Put it back on the deck there. Thank you, and Sue, you follow your card as well. And some people think maybe they're on the top, or perhaps they're on the bottom, but that would be kind of cheesy. Okay, put Roger's card back for us, Catherine.
Should I show it first?
Oh yeah, please do. Because Roger, maybe like me, have a short memory. Getting old, Roger, are you? Yeah. All right, Roger. And Catherine, you have a card, yes?
Yes.
Put your card on top.
Okay. Face down?
Face down, yes. If you turn it face up, people think I can see it.
Okay.
Okay. Cut the deck in half, and then put the other half on top so you buried your card, yes?
Yes.
Is your card on top now?
No.
If it is, you are fast. Is that your card?
No.
You are not fast. Okay. We'll give the deck a shuffle or two. And we will start with the lovely Miss Catherine. Cut the deck again, Catherine, and finish it. Tell me when you're done.
Just put it on.
Cut it and then finish it, yes.
Okay.
Did you finish?
Yeah.
And did you cut your card? Is that your card?
No.
Catherine, didn't we rehearse it? No, we didn't rehearse this. You need my help.
Yes.
Okay. Would you like me to cut your card to the top of the deck, to the bottom of the deck, or right out of the middle of the deck? Your choice.
Out of the middle.
She's a middle job. Here we go. You ready? Slow motion. Do you remember what your card was?
Yes.
What was it?
Hearts.
What's that?
9 of hearts.
That we got it. Cut the deck for Roger.
Okay.
Cut the deck for Roger. Tell me when you're done.
I'm done.
And Roger, did she get lucky? No. Roger, top, bottom, or middle? Just straight to the top? What was your card, Rog? Her? Is that it?
Yes.
Okay. Cut the deck again, Carrie for Sue. Cut it and finish it.
There we go.
And Sue, yes or no? Sue, this is getting boring. What's your favorite number under 10, Sue?
7.
Okay, 7. Take the deck,
Okay.
count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and flip over number 7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
What is that?
2 of diamonds.
What was your card? 2? Oh, we got it. Turn them all face down, shuffle them up. Did we get it? Okay. Oh, did you have a card?
I did.
Oh, okay. Okay, just set them over here. Shuffle them and set them over there. Don't forget your card, though.
Okay.
Okay, you remember it because I'll forget. D stands for dreams. E stands for excellent. A stands for analysis. L stands for loyalty. We must be loyal to virtues such as honesty and integrity. In this next door, see if I was not deceiving myself and believing I was being honest. This lawyer comes up to me. He introduces himself as Tony. He said, I've seen your work. Your moves are invisible. He says, I want you to help me take down 2 lawyers and a banker. He said, I know there's a cheat in that game, and I want you to help me flush them out. He said, you don't have to feel guilty about cheating these guys because we're all in the same business. We're all lawyers and bankers in the business of cheating people. And these were his exact words. He said, if you've ever used a lawyer, here's a chance to get some of your extorted funds back. That's what his words. I thought to myself, wow. I thought, yes, that makes sense. A cheater cheating cheaters. You can't get any more honest than that, can you? I decided to help him out. At the game right up front, I addressed the vision situation by using my fallback excuse that my roommate stepped on my glasses and somebody will have to call off the face-up cards. During the game, Tony and we cleaned everyone out with no suspicion until the last hand. And this is the reason why it was the last hand. Here's my deal. I picked up the deck and I cracked out a turn. Hey, there's 2 cards missing. The banker leans over and says, how can you pick up a deck and tell 2 cards are missing? I thought, oops. I guess I showed a certain level of skill. I started hemming and hawing as I'm feeling around the table, alibying. Anybody can tell that. It was a catered game. And I bumped the placemat next to the banker. Underneath the mat were the 2 cards. That lawyer was a holdout cheat. The banker points an angry finger at Tony and says, what's going on here? This guy's hiding cards under his mat. Your new friend here can pick up the deck and tell the cards are missing. What gives? As Paul Harvey used to say, later I'll tell you the rest of the story. If we choose to cheat to reach the top, even 5 aces will be a loser. Grab the cards in the middle. What do you have?
Oh, what? 4 aces.
Sure, buddy. There's an Old West tombstone that reads, played 5 aces, now plays the harp. What was the card you had earlier?
Ace of spades.
What's that?
Wow.
The 5th ace. Bang, you're dead. Shuffle up. Because of my card skills, I could be a very rich dead man. Started in the early 80s, my notoriety with the cards began filtering down to the ears of the underworld, and I've been wined and dined by some very powerful crime families. One mobster, after seeing what I could do with the cards, said, "We'll give you $1,000 a day to come work for us." I said, "No thanks." He said, $2K a day. Again, I politely refused. He said, "How much will it cost to buy you?" I instantly had visions of waking up with a horse's head lying next to me. Godfather movie. Another offer came from the Middle East. A party of 5 men offered me up to $1 million to go to the Middle East and play cards against the oil tycoons. Again, I said, "No, thank you." This next mobster was very rich, very, very powerful, and over the course of a number of years made me a series of offers to cheat. We were dining in his beautiful mountaintop mansion, and I told him about the $1 million offer I had. He told me, "Don't take it." He said, "In a situation like that, you'll be 100% used." He added, "You understand what I'm trying to tell you? For those that don't know what 100% used means, it means they kill you when they're done with you." I told him, "I know what it means." He said, "Those oil men, they own half the world." He said, "We own the other half." That's what he said. "We own the other half." He said, "We can arrange to have these card games take place in the United States, and we'll back you here." You know what I thought at that moment? I thought, wow, I'll be 100% used in my own country. I'll die here, thank you very much. I'm going to show you why these gangsters wanted to buy me. The biggest threat to a casino is what's called an inside man. You have a $500,000, I'm your inside man, okay? Pick a number, play a game of blackjack. Pick a number of players, 4 or 5, what do you want?
5.
5 players, where do you want to sit? 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5?
3.
5 and 3, 1, 2. This is you have a $500,000 sitting right there. What's that card?
Ace of spades.
Player 3, player 4, player 5, and the house. Player 1, player 2, you chose 3. What's that?
Queen of...
Queen, you just walked out with $1.25 million. We just split $1.25 million. We are 2 happy campers. Make sure they're all face down, shuffle them out. In those offers, I remained loyal to my values of honesty. Now I'm going to tell you where I did not remain honest, and it cost me big time. It's Pearl Harbor Day 1982. I'm with my driver having my usual water on the rocks. When this woman, she sat down next to me. Her name was Jana Lee. We started talking. She asked me out. I learned that she grew up in the entertainment business. Regular people at her home were Buddy Epson from the Beverly Hillbillies, Walt Disney, and other famous people. Then her dad suddenly died at 49. Her mother, with her daughter's birthday presents around the body, put a bullet in her head and blamed Jana Lee for the suicide. Jana Lee refused any help, and at 13, she ended up on the streets of Hollywood where a pimp plied her with drugs and raped her over and over, and that led to drugs, drinking, prostitution, and teenage porn. I decided to help her out. I bought her new clothes. I paid to get her professional psychological counseling. And she continually suckered my male ego by calling me her rescuing angel. Then out of the blue, she proposed marriage to me. She said, "I'll promise I stop drinking." She would stop drinking. That was her vice of choice, was her darn drinking. And there was this voice in my head screaming, "Hey, Turner, you're being suckered, you're being conned, you're being seduced, run." Did I listen to the voice? Nope. Even the psychologist privately told me he had doubts of a successful union once he saw the depth of her psychopathology. And here I am, Mr. Tough Karate guy. But when it came to women, I was a wimp, wuss, a sucker. And the pastor said, "Sure, why not? Let's get married." We were wed. It's 1984. Jana Lee and I are having dinner at a restaurant. This guy approaches our table and says, "You're Richard Turner. You once cheated me out of a bunch of money. I'm the banker that wanted to know how you could pick up a deck and tell 2 cards were missing." I thought, I'm going to get in a fight right here in front of everyone. All of a sudden, he grabbed my hand, started shaking my hand vigorously, and said, I saw you on That's Incredible. That was fantastic. I said, now I understand how you could pick up a deck and tell 2 cards were missing. He said, I just wanted to tell you, it was such a privilege to have been cheated by you. And he turned and disappeared. And I started vigorously wiping down my hand. Jan Lee says snidely, you afraid of germs or something? I said, no. I don't like shaking hands because people's sweat or moisture affects my touch with the cards. Shortly after the run-in with the banker, Jan Lee tells me she has an old client that wants to talk to me about playing cards in Sin City. She sweetly said, he's talking about $300,000. I said, Sin City is Las Vegas. Not a smart place to do business if you're planning on doing anything underhanded. Tell him, forget it, go away, I'm not interested. Jan Lee got drunk, screamed, and ragged on me for turning down the offer. Say, living with a violent alcoholic, to get out of the house, I would do anything. I started playing cards. I'd play 3, 4, 5 days a week. And I didn't care if it was $1 ante or pot limit. And I have to confess, not every card came off the top. And because of this, I was now being pursued. I'm on a flight, headed to a performance. And the stranger in the seat next to me lowers his paper and says, hello, Mr. Turner. I'd like to talk to you about doing a little business together. I said, what kind of business? He said, profitable business, very profitable. I said, how profitable? He said, $200,000 to $300,000 for your participation. I knew what he was going to say, but I still asked, to do what? He said, we're going to play cards for money, big money. I said, where? He said, South Africa, Sun City. Well, I listened to what he said, made no deals. The plane landed, we went our separate ways. I thought that was the end of it. That was just the beginning. This guy stalked me across the country. He knew about my personal likes and dislikes. He would call me on private lines when I'd be 1,000 miles from home. I just finished doing a media interview. I'm in my hotel room, the phone rings. Now, to protect the innocent, that's sort of me, we're going to call this guy Mr. Diamond because he was a diamond dealer out of Africa. I answered the phone. He said, Richard, it's me, Diamond. I'm downstairs. Let me buy you dinner. I wanted to see what the guy was up to, so I had our chauffeur escort me to his table. Diamond didn't rise or offer to shake hands. He just said, Richard, have a seat. As soon as I sat down, he held his palm up in front of my face and said, I know your aversion to, well, you know, shaking hands. He said, hold out your hand. He handed me a 5-carat diamond pinky ring. He said was worth $70,000. He says it's a gift, a token of my good faith. I knew if I accepted that ring from him, I'd be married to the guy. And a relationship like that, when it's time to go in your separate ways, the big D word doesn't stand for divorce, it stands for death. I gave the ring back, said, that's okay. He changed the subject. He said, you're in the martial arts, well-trained. He said, you want to take someone out, this is what you do. We were at one of those little 2-person tables next to the hotel. He put his hand on my shoulder, then he started squeezing my neck. And then without warning, he jerked his head a hairbreadth from my face. He said, what you do is you take your thick skull, drive it in the punk's nose. I call it Glasgow kiss, West Texas takedown. He says sometimes if you're lucky, the punk will bite through their own tongue. That was a very memorable meal. Thought of chopped tongue, remind me of dinner with Poker Tom. We were getting ready to leave. He said, Richard, hold it. You're in the entertainment business. Perhaps you'd like to be on the Tonight Show. He gave me a piece of paper that had 3 numbers on it. One was Johnny Carson's business number, Johnny Carson's personal number, and the 3rd number was an answering service. He said, when you're ready to do business, leave a message and I'll get back with you. When I got home, I gave the number to Chuck Curtis. Chuck Curtis headed up one of the most successful SWAT teams in the history of law enforcement, taking down 3 serial murders, including David Allen Lucas, a sick, twisted, psychopathic killer. Chuck said, with these mobsters following you, you need to be able to protect yourself. He had me out on the sheriff's firing range. He'd throw a rock at a target, and I'd aim and fire towards the sound. He then armed me with a Walther P.P. Gay. Now there's a bright idea, give a blind guy a gun. Again, I'm on the road. I walk into this restaurant. Sitting at the restaurant was Diamond. He said, Richard, it's me. Let me buy you dinner. Let me buy you a drink. I sat down. This time he tells me how it cost him $400,000 to bribe a judge to make a murder rap go away. I said, $400,000 is a lot of money. He said, not for a judge. Then came the most frightening moment of all. He said, do you ever want to make Janet Lee go away? I can make that happen for you. He said, there'd be an explosion. Boom. No one would know you were behind the killing. Capiche? He said, I just wanted to let you know that's another service I can provide to you if you're interested. And I knew he was trying to entice or intimidate me into accepting his offer to play cards in Sun City. Well, after the run-in with the banker, I said, no partners for me. I stood up, did the best I could to stare him in the eye and said, don't ever contact me again. Capiche? And I left there scared, really scared. As I said, at that time, I was playing a lot of cards. I had this wise guy. He owned a large commercial construction company. He wanted to cut high card, double or nothing for the pot. He cut a 10. I cut, what's that card? Ace. I cut an ace. He said, let's double it again. He cut a king. What's that? Ace. I cut an ace. He said, let's double it again. He cut a 9. What's that? Ace. Again, he has to double. He cut another king. What's that? Ace. 4 aces cut from your shuffle deck. Shuffle those cards up. Put them back in the deck, face down separate. Shuffle them up. That night, we doubled over a dozen times before he finally surrendered. If you know how many double, I had a really good night. At one point, I owned 4 properties, 4 exotic cars, couldn't drive a one, fine art, antiques, bronzes, and nutrition stores. Then came the 1988 market crash, down with the assets, and the rest I surrendered when Janet Lee sued for divorce. Like King David with Bathsheba, I screwed up. I billed myself as an honest cheat, and I was not. I prayed to God to forgive me for my cheating and my other dishonest behavior. We are going to have some fun together, you and me. Let me have that deck. We're going to do something. We're going to do the same moves that make the same actions and see what happens, okay? Take your cards and do this. Cut the deck off like this into little piles. Got it? Okay. Now give it overhand shuffle. Okay. Okay. Now give it the old crunch shuffle. Like, yeah, you got that one down, the crunch shuffle. Now give it a casino shuffle. Good. Okay. Now set your cards right here, face down. Okay. And cut your deck. Now reach across and cut my deck and finish it. Got it? Okay, now take your deck. Now cut the deck in half. Just reach in the middle and pull out a card. Sneak out a card. You got one? Yes. Look at it. Show the audience. Okay, put it 1 inch over the top of the deck. Drop it. Got it? Yes. Cut the deck. Put the other half on top. Got it? Yes. Switch. Okay. Now give the deck cuts like this. Alternating cuts. Now give it overhand shuffle. Go back to this one again. Okay. Now give it crunch shuffle. I can't even do a bad crunch shuffle. It's so noisy. Now give it casino shuffle. Okay. A couple of them if you like. Really mess those babies up. Now give it the lazy person shuffle. Hold them in your hand like this. Break them in half. Lace them up. And give them a bridge. You can't do that? Oh, how about this way? Just kind of give it a one-hand cut. Okay. No. Okay, reach across and cut my deck and finish it. Cut it and finish it. Got it? Now let me cut yours. Okay. Now find your card. Put it face up on the table. And you can just move them around if you need to. Okay. You think it was this one? There is no thinking. There is a right answer and a wrong answer. No ifs, ands, or. Okay, what is your card?
9 of clubs.
9 of clubs. You like those 9s. I'm going to try cutting a card out of the middle of the deck. My card. What is that? It's a no way. No, it's a 9 of clubs. It's not a no way. She thought it was a no way card. See your cards all face down? Shuffle your cards up, ladies. Shuffle your cards. A perfect match. I'm going to tell you about another perfect match. In 1990, I meet this beautiful blue-eyed blonde from the mountains of Montana, a country girl, a mountain girl. I told her I was in the mountains hunting rattlesnakes. She said, I was in those same mountains with my brother looking for rattlesnakes. I thought, wow, this is a woman after my own heart, adventurous. I asked her out. Guess what our first date was? Rattlesnake hunting. Call me romantic. We found no rattlesnakes, but after 2 years of roller coaster riding, bungee cord jumping, karate and weight training, mountain climbing, shark hunting, surviving a 7.3 earthquake, we were married. And for the past 32 years, I have been a very blessed man. Thank you. She's also the mother of our brilliant son, Asa, spelled A-S-A, a biblical name, King David's great-grandson, King Asa, A-S-A. His middle name is Spades, Asa Spades. Cool name, huh? All right. All right, we're gonna, let's see here. Would you, oh, your hands are you're getting nerves over there?
It's hard work.
Oh, it is hard work. You tell me. Grab a card. I'll make it easy for you. Grab a card.
All right.
Show the audience, show the camera. Show the audience, show the camera. You recognize it, right? Okay. Say stop, Catherine.
Stop.
Put your card back. Everybody remember Catherine's card, yes? Before we bury it, okay. All right, follow your card. We'll give it a few cuts. And you have a card, yes?
Yes, I do.
Put your card back.
All right.
All right. And I'm going to speed this along a little bit, making little messes there, okay? And we'll start with the lovely Miss Catherine. Catherine, what is that card out loud?
3 of hearts.
You are so correct. 3 of hearts. Put your finger straight up and down like that. I think the 3 of hearts was your card. Carrie, what's this card?
3 of clubs.
3 of clubs is the correct answer. Did you have the 3 of clubs?
I had the 3 of hearts.
Oh, she had the heart?
Right?
What'd you have? What did you take out of the deck a minute ago?
3 of diamonds? Yes.
Hold it. You had the clubs over here?
No, I had the heart.
You had the heart. What's this one? What was your card? Turn that over. Yes?
Oh, yeah, the 3 diamonds.
Yes. Shuffle them out, shuffle them out, shuffle, put them all back together, shuffle them out. I set you up and caught you with a double switch. Are you ready to hear who we believe set me up with Diamond? However, I'm suspecting you guys are a lot smarter than I was and have already figured it out for yourself. 2012, I start receiving a number of calls from this mobster-sounding guy looking for Jana Lee. I told him over and over I haven't seen her in years. I checked out her Facebook page, and she had listed 2 relatives, me, her ex-husband of all people, and Kim Marie Miller Turner, my wife. That was disturbing, creepy. She was either stalking us or at best tracking us. A few months later, January 2013, my wife Kim receives a call from a major crime division detective who tells Kim, I'm sorry to inform you, but your sister, Jana Lee, was found dead. And of course, Kim is shocked. She tells the detective, she's not my sister, she's my husband's ex-wife. I get on the phone with the guy. After I get the rundown, I asked him, how'd they find out she had passed away? He said they received a call that the house next door smelled like there was a dead body inside. So I sent over a detective. He kicked in the door and outran 3 starving dogs that went feral. There was feces everywhere. The place looked like it had been tossed, searched. Pictures ripped from their frame, drawers, cupboards emptied out, trash all over the place. When they finally found the body, they figured she had been dead for about 5 weeks. And the thought of 3 starving dogs with nothing to eat but a dead corpse made me want to vomit. I got off the phone with the detective. I told Kim what he said. Kim says, I guess I can tell you who I think set you up with that gangster. I said, what gangster? She said, the one that wanted you to play cards in South Africa and knew all about your weird idiosyncrasies. I said, you mean Diamond, the one that tried to get me to sell my soul for $300,000? She said, yeah. I said, I figured he must have had a private investigator follow me. She said, that can't be it. He knew too many personal details. I asked, well, then who? She said, see if you can put the puzzle pieces together yourself. She asked me, who booked your seat next to Diamond? I thought for a minute. I said, Jana Lee booked all my flights. She said, did Jana Lee know what cities you were in? I said, yes. Did she know in what hotel rooms you were staying? I said, of course. Did you ever tell her you didn't like to shake hands? I remembered the run-in with the banker and said, yeah. She said, remember when Jan Lee told you about an offer to play cards in Vegas, also known as Sin City? I said, yes. She said, do you think you got Sin City and Sun City mixed up with each other when they were actually one and the same? When I put Sin City together with Sun City and all the random run-ins with Diamond, I realized how I had again been suckered. And if I would have accepted that offer to cheat, no doubt I would have been 100% used, and today, worm food. D stands for dreams, E stands for excellent, A stands for analysis, L stands for loyalty, the last letter. T stands for tenacity. I like that word, tenacity. What is tenacity? Tenacity breaks down the barriers that stand between us and our dream. Growing up, I had 3 dreams. One was to kick like Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris was also teased and harassed as a kid. And like Master Norris, I started karate training. My karate instructor was Master John Murphy. Murphy took me from a 110-pound, scrawny, asthma-ridden, at that time, only a legally blind wimp, to a master 6th degree black belt. And Murphy wanted to have the most difficult test in the country. To earn a black belt under this crazy man Murphy, you had to fight a 10 3-minute round bout with a fresh black belt each round. And Murphy didn't want to deal with lawsuits, so most of the testing and training took place across the border in Tijuana. I realized if I was ever going to survive fighting 10 men in a row, I had to overcome the paralyzing effects of fear. Like they say on the old TV show, That's Incredible, don't try this at home. I started climbing 1,000-foot cliffs without equipment. I learned to swing on the trapeze. I would take 40-foot high falls. I would tightrope around the rim of multi-story buildings, cliff dived, and hunted sharks. All true. Murphy said you need to have a body of steel. I flashed back to my childhood memories of Charlton Heston chained to the ship, pulling the oars with his big bulging bicep. That image of strength always encouraged me to want to be stronger, so I trained harder. Murphy pushed me hard. These are some of my records. I could do 500 push-ups, 12 minutes, 9 seconds. I topped out at 340 on the bench press. I could military press and curl more than my body weight. I could do the splits across 2 chairs and touch my head to the floor. It took 13 years and 3 months of constant training before I was ready to take on the 10 men. And because of my card fame, the pressure was on me big time. The TV and print media were there, including one of the largest papers in the country, the Los Angeles Times. Before the fight started, Murphy said, relax. Relax. All you have to do is come out alive with spirit. I asked Murphy, I said, what do you mean alive with spirit? He said, even if your teeth have been punched down your throat, you're still smiling. During the test, I hit some of these guys so hard I knocked them silly. But they were fresh and I was not. When it was all said and done, I had 1 bruise, started at my head, ended at my toe. I had a smashed bloody nose, a ruptured right eardrum. I had my groin kicked up into my throat. I caught a roundhouse kick right here, broke this arm. I fought 3.5 rounds with a broken right arm, but I earned my black belt. And the next day, the whole bloody mess was spread across the front page of the Los Angeles Times sports section. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to have some fun now. It's time for me to make a few bucks. How many have seen the shell game? Where they have 3 shells, a little pea, they move them around, you find the shell with the pea. Y'all know what I'm talking about, yes? This is the sister done with cards called 3 Card Monty. Don't blink. Catherine, what is that card?
2 of spades.
What is that card?
2 of clubs.
2 twos. Everybody, what is that card?
Queen of hearts.
Money, money, money. The idea is to keep your eye on the Queen of Hearts. Everybody in the audience, help the ladies keep track of the Queen of Hearts. Let's say you're going to put, we'll make it mild, say $2,000 on the table. Anybody think they know where that queen is? Call it out if you think you know. Call it out. Hold it, hold it. What'd you say? What's your name? Richard. Who invited you? Over here, Richard? What's that card? What's this card?
Queen.
Oh, Richard, $2,000. I'm so glad you came. But don't worry, Richard, we'll give you a few warm-ups. Maybe start working that debt down. It's only money, it's only cash, it's only $2,000, Richie. Here we go. It's called Find the Queen. Now, Catherine is really good at this game. Catherine, tell them where that queen is. 1, 2, or 3.
Oh, well, these are face up.
It should be easier for you. 1, 2, or 3. 3. See how fast you got it, Richie? Richard, that would have been $2,000. Of course, you know, 2 out of 3 times people get it when it's face up. It's true. We'll try it the other. It's our educational system. Okay, is that the queen?
Yes.
Okay, I don't want you to think I tricked you. Pair of deuces, Richard. Pair of deuces, Richard. There's the baby. There's the baby. Carrie, 1, 2, 3. Tell Richard. Queen.
3.
3. Richard needs your help. Let's put money back on the table, Richard. Say 1,000 a throw. Pair of deuces. Pair of deuces. Pair of deuces. Pair of deuces. Keep your eye glued to that little baby. Baby, 1, 2, 3. Tell him, Carrie, yeah. No, 3. Oh, Catherine, as soon as he put money on the table, you start screwing up $3,000. Well, at least it's his money, not yours. Okay, don't worry. Pair of 3, pair of deuces, pair of deuces, pair of deuces. Are you following, Richard? I'm not moving until you say something, Richard. Okay, here we go, Richard. Keep your eye on that queen, Richard, okay, Richard? Are you following, Richard? Yes or no? Where is it, Richard? 1, 2, 3. 1. 4,000. Dang it. Okay, I'll slow it down for the losers. I'll slow it down for the losers. Winner. Loser, loser. Slow motion for the Richard man. Slow motion. Richard, are you following? Oh, well, don't be so boring. Remember, the 2s lose. Okay, tell them. Were you following?
Yeah.
Tell them. 2. Oh, you were right next to it. You were so close, so close, so close. Here, when you watch, remember this. When you pick a queen, you win the money. When you pick a deuce, I win the money. Tell them, Catherine.
2.
You need help. How about this? What is that card? What is in the corner?
A little fold.
A fold. That's a good name for it. A fold. This is so if you go to a place called New York. That's a foreign country, Richard. And I'm not going to move or blink until, Catherine, when you're ready, you say go. When you're ready, say go.
Go.
Tell him, Catherine.
2.
There you go. Oh, Catherine, I hate to say it. You are all in debt.
Yeah.
Here, I'll give you a souvenir, something to remind you should never play this game. You want a queen or a 2?
Queen.
Take it. It cost you more than it paid you. Show everybody. What'd you get? What'd you get? What'd you get?
I got a 2.
Oh, wait, take it. Show everybody.
I got 2 of clubs.
Oh, it cost you $1,000, another $1,000 on the way out the door. Hand me that card face up. 2 of clubs, you said? Mm-hmm. Okay, Carrie, we're going to let you clean up Richie's mess, okay?
Okay.
We'll go double or nothing on a deuce. Flip a deuce to clears, otherwise doubles. 1, 2, or 3. You have 1 second, go. Tell us which one's the 2. Turn it over, face up, right now, go. Turn them all over, What do you have? Turn them all. What do you have? Look under here. When the money gets big, I cheat. But I gave you fair warning. You know what that makes me? An honest cheat. Yeah. In closing, when the rest of my retina degenerated and I went from an independent disabled person to a dependent disabled person, that caused friction with my friends, family, and my wife. Here I am holding a master ranking in the martial arts, taking on 10 men, yet fearing something as simple as help from others. My wife's words, you can't conquer what you're not willing to confront, really hit home. When I was willing to be more inclusive and accept help from others, it set me free. We all have weaknesses, and there are times we need help from others. And when we're willing to accept that help, when we actually need it, we can move on with our lives. Also, success must not be the end game. Success must evolve into significance. My wife and I, we've been involved with many ministries, including one of them was the Lambs Players. But over the years, we've had the privilege of speaking, inspiring hundreds of thousands of students, military, even put a smile on the face of men in their last day of dying from AIDS. In the game of life, stay focused on your game. Don't let anyone tell you you can't play or something's impossible. Have a healthy disregard for anyone that tells you something's impossible. I say take possible out of impossible. Take possible out of impossible. I understand that time to time we're all dealt a bad hand or two, but it's how we approach that hand. If we choose to fold, whine, sit on our pity pot, go all in, that's what separates the losers from the winners. Respectful success comes from those who go for their dreams, achieve a state of excellence, analyze their obstacles and assets, stay loyal to virtues such as honesty and integrity, and have the tenacity to break down any barrier. DEALT, big winner, because of the way you play your hand. Here's one last thing. Here's something you never do when you play cards for money. Never do this. When they see you shuffle with one hand while you backflip cut with the other, they get up and run, you're left playing solitaire. And on that note, unless you would like to step in the back with me and a few other LPs and perhaps play a hand or two, that shows you what happens when you play with a cheat. Anyway, I hope you all had fun. Did you have fun? Thank you all. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Stand up, have a seat. Stand up and take a bow. Take a bow. Thank you. Thank you. Take a bow. Take a bow. Thank you. Thanks for watching the Delt play. I hope it came across that I'm a very blessed man. I would again like to thank my 4 mentors, my weight training coach, Gene Fisher, my first director, Steve Terrell, my karate sensei, John Murphy, my card mentor, Professor Di Vernon. Then there are my parents and siblings, Jim Joan, Dave, Mike, and my sister Lori and her dog Star, my son Ace of Spades, of whom I'm very proud, and my dog Judah. Just kidding. I'd like to thank my wonderful wife Kim. She's my treasure of all treasures, my pearl of great price. I would sell all that I have for her. Many times I've told her, when I die, I want to go in one of 2 ways: drop dead live on stage or making love to her. And she would tell me, on your tombstone, I'll put, he came and went. Love you, babe. Then there's God the Father and Jesus the Christ. We are miraculously made, and for that we should all give thanks. Here is a short list of the friends and colleagues who have blessed me over the years. And if I missed anyone, I apologize now. Thanks again. Judah, say goodbye.
On a warm summer's evening, on a train bound for nowhere, I met up with a gambler. We were both too tired to sleep, so we took turns of staring out the window at the darkness till boredom overtook us, and he commenced to speak. He said, son, I've made a life out of reading people's faces and knowing what their cards were by the way they held their eyes. And if you don't mind my saying, I can see you're out of aces. And for a taste of your whiskey, I'll give you some advice. So I handed him a bottle, and he drank down my last swallow. And then he bummed a cigarette, and then he bummed a light. And the night got deathly quiet. His face lost all expression. He said, if you're gonna play the game, boy, you gotta learn to play it right. 'Cause every gambler knows that the secret to surviving is knowing what to throw away and knowing what to keep. 'Cause every hand's a winner, just like every hand's a loser. And the best that you can hope for is to die in your sleep. You gotta know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, know when to run. And you never count your money when you're sitting at the table. There'll be time enough for counting when the dealing is done. And when he'd finished speaking, he turned back toward the window. He crushed out his cigarette and faded off to sleep. And somewheres in the darkness, the gambler, he broke even. But in his final words, I found an ace that I could keep. You gotta know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, know when to run. And you never count your money when you're sitting at the table. There'll be time enough for counting when the dealing is done. But you gotta know when to hold 'em,
When to hold 'em,
know when to fold 'em,
when to fold 'em,
know when to walk
when
away,
to walk away,
know when to run. And you never count your money when you're sitting at the table. There'll be time enough for counting when the dealing is done. But you gotta know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, know when to run. And you never...
Operator, but could you help me place this call? You see the number on the matchbook is old and faded. She's living in LA with my best old ex-friend Ray. Gosh, she said she knew well and sometimes hated. Isn't it the way they say it goes? But let's forget all that and give me the number if you can't find it, so I can call just to tell him I'm finding the show. Overcome the blow, learn to take it well. Only wish my words could just convince myself that it just wasn't real. But that's not the way it feels. Operator, or could you help me place this call? 'Cause I can't read the number that you just gave me. There's something in my eyes, you know it happens every time. Think about the love that I thought would save me. Isn't that the way they say it goes? Well, let's forget all that and give me the number if you can't find it, so I can call just to tell him I'm finding the show. Overcome the blow, learn to take it well. I only wish my words could just convince myself that it just wasn't real. But that's not the way it feels. No, 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 no. That's not the way it feels. Operator, oh, let's forget about this call. There's no one there I really wanted to talk to. So thank you for your time. Oh, you've been so much more than kind. You can keep the dime. Isn't that the way they say it goes? Well, let's forget all that and give me the number if you can't find it, so I can call just to tell him I'm finding the show. I overcome the blow, learn to take it well. I only wish my words could just convince myself that it just wasn't real. but that's not the way it feels.